Hello, and welcome to the We Are Power podcast. If this is your first time here, the We Are Power podcast is the podcast for you, your career, and your life. We release an episode every single Monday with listeners in over 60 countries worldwide, where you'll hear personal life stories, top-notch industry advice, and key leadership insight from amazing role models. As We Are Power is the umbrella brand to Northern Power Women Awards, which celebrates hundreds of female role models and advocates every year. This is where you can hear stories from all of our awards alumni and stay up to date with everything MPW Awards and We Are Power. This week, I am delighted to be joined by Cat Wildman, who is the co-founder of Powered by Diversity and our commended winner for Agent of Change at the 2024 Northern Power Awards. Cat, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited.
Looks very Hello Magazine there in the background. For those of you listening, just looks very Hello Magazine. Catch up on the YouTube.
This is my daughter's bedroom, and it's now the nicest room in the house, and I'm going to steal it.
Oh, I love it. I would, actually. Yeah, I would. There you go. There you go, daughter. Come home. Next time she comes home, everything will be moved out. You are a total advocate for diversity and inclusion and dedicated to promoting gender equality, right up our street. What did it feel like to get up to the stage last year at the awards and pick up that trophy?
Oh my gosh. It's so many things. I was feeling a big dollop of imposter syndrome, as we are wont to do. And no matter how much you try and fight against it, the imposter always is like, are you sure they said your name? Just because the caliber of people who are getting awarded. And it made me so proud as well, because it's Northern women. And I'm like, yes, this is great. Celebrating all the Northern women. But the overwhelming feeling was pride. I was so proud of myself. I was so proud that I had earned my place in that room with all those phenomenal people and you at Power. I just thought, yeah, I'm proud.
It's like an energy boost, isn't it, in an evening?
Yeah, it's that bit of recognition, because it's day to day. Like, I think sometimes when you look at people on social media, you look at people on LinkedIn, you think, oh, you're always doing that sort of stuff. You're always going to awards, you're always going to glitzy networking things. But actually, those are just the things you put on social media. And day to day, you're grafting really hard every day. Those nice little moments of recognition, which makes it all worthwhile.
And you are, as I said, co-founder of Powered by Diversity, and you developed the GEC app in 2020, which is all about tracking imbalance in the workplace. But just tell us broadly about what it is that Powered by Diversity does.
Yes. So I started off with a co-founder back in the day, and we were doing education and business together. And so what I wanted to create was a diagnostic that worked for both education and for organizations, because I'm a scientist and technologist. And so what I saw when I was in the workplace, I was a director in technology, 2017 Gender Pay Gap Reporting Initiative came out, and I saw people running around with their heads on fire going, quick, we better close our gender pay gap. And I'm thinking, but we don't know what the cause is. I mean, we know the symptom is not enough women at leadership level, but we don't know the causes. And from my own personal lived experience, just one person, there were so many different barriers that I'd had to navigate to get to even where I was at the time. I just thought we need a diagnostic here to be able to break the problem down and address the root cause. And I wanted to do the same thing for education. So we formed the GEC first, which was education and business. Both of them took off. And the audiences and the customers wanted them to go in different directions. So we split them into two businesses at the start of 2023. And now I am founder of Powered by Diversity. My ex-co-founder is running the GEC still. She still does education. I just do businesses. And yeah, it's been, I can't believe it was that long ago now. It's flown by, but it also hasn't flown by.
And you just mentioned you're a scientist. Where did this whole kind of career path, how did you get to founding a business? Because we talk on this podcast an awful lot about nobody has that one straight line, that one career, easy trajectory, at the age of 14, 15, I know what I'm going to do and off I go, I'm going to do it. But can you give us a potted history of yours? Because it's interesting.
Well, what was it you said? It's like a jungle gym. Was that in Lean In? Yeah, totally. I wish I'd been able to know at 15 what I wanted to do. because then I could have just fully focused. So where did I go? So I did science at school. I did physics, biology and chemistry at A-level, and then went to university and did a biomedical sciences and physiological sciences degree. I wanted to be a doctor, and then I changed my mind at uni. And then so I came out of the world of science and then immediately got a job working for a national newspaper in technology in projects. Because actually I just thought, oh my gosh, I don't know anything about technology. I knew nothing about technology. But I got this entry-level job, project coordinator, and loved it because what I very quickly realized was that technology is the same sort of mindset as science. It's about gathering the data. It's about making a hypothesis. Where do you want to go? Let's control our experiment. Let's do the experiment. Let's measure how it went. It was basically the exact same skill set that I had, just working with computers instead of cells and microbes. So yeah, I loved it straight away. And I just went from there. I moved into digital product. Digital product wasn't a thing when I got into the workplace. The website was like 5 guys in the corner wearing like Android t-shirts. No one knew what Android was back then. And we were like, oh, the web guys, what do they even do? Who knows? Don't know. And then went to the Telegraph, migrated the website to a new platform because everyone was saying podcasts. It's all about multimedia. It's all about SEO. It's all about the web, a mobile web. And we were like, really? Is it going to be? What the heck is SEO? What's a podcast? And so we went, it was the dawn of the Telegraph going into that world, and it was really exciting. It was such a great project, and we trained all the journalists and fell in love with digital from that moment and thought this is the only area I want to work in. Worked my way up to digital product director. And then when I was at the Telegraph, I was director of digital product. That was when the Gender Pay Gap Reporting Initiative came out. I had 3 children in that time. And also I had seen the part as I became a CV reader of people who I was now recruiting. There were just men applying. And I'm like, why are women and girls not interested in STEM? I'm obviously a great big STEM geek. I love it. I can't get enough of it. It's the way my mind works. And I just thought I need to get involved in the scene. So I got massively involved in the scene. And the more I saw things that I would have the power to be able to change and, get involved in, have some impact in. And then when the Gender Pay Gap Reporting Initiative came out and everyone was running around with their heads on fire going, we need to close our gender pay gap right now, and panicking. And I went to this event. I went to Women of Silicon Roundabout that year. And all of the themes of these women standing up on the stage, talking to a room full of 300, 400 smart, technical women, the theme was, something has to be done. Someone needs to do something about this. Who's going to do something about this? This is not right. It's like, give us a call to action, please. Come on, we can solve this problem. I just wanted the message to be like, we can do this. Here's what we can do, and just make us walk out feeling empowered. And I walked out feeling exhausted, and I just thought, I'm going to work in EDI in some form. And when I started researching that, what are the root causes to the gender pay gap, I fell in love with that research. And it very easily extrapolated over to other protected characteristics like race, disability, and so on. And I just thought, oh, I'm going to do this forever now because I want to do it for my kids. I want to do it for the next generations coming up because I don't want them to have to, climb, screw up their fingers to the bone, getting over the same ridiculous hurdles that I had to. And I'm an incredibly privileged white woman, but I had to go over those hurdles. I just thought, you know what? I've got to spend the rest of my career making life easier for other people because it's silly, isn't it?
And it's the ultimate. You're in that room at that big conference, and I can sense you sort of sat there looking around going, it's that whole quotation, isn't it? If not now, when? If not who? Me, right?
Yeah, it was like I walked out of that room and my main message was, no one's coming to save us. It gives me goosebumps, actually gives me goosebumps remembering it. So I was like, no one's coming. No one is coming here to save us. They've done the Gender Pay Gap Reporting Initiative. They've said, let's all do this every year. And now it's up to us. And actually, we're the grown-ups now. There's not a boss coming down to be like, right, okay, what we're going to do is this. We can do it. And then I thought, I can write a framework for how to do this. This is my skill set. This is what I enjoy doing. I'm going to have the audacity to just go and do it. And I was like, oh gosh, we're going to save ourselves.
We've got our own capes. Look at our capes in our bag there, right here.
Pull this apron round and put it over the back there.
And at what point did you, we talked about that now, I need to do something now, but at what point you like, actually, literally me now, literally, I'm going to be an entrepreneur?
It was when I was researching. So I was geeking out by myself and looking at things like bias in the recruitment process, bias in the appraisal process, gathering the scientific research that had been done. And there isn't a lot. And that was also a huge worry in terms of, let's look at a longitudinal study of females' average appraisal scores and the sorts of verbatim feedback they get. I only knew from my own lived experience. I was told to grow thicker skin. I was told to be less emotional. And I'm not an emotional person. But if I get annoyed about something, it's like, you need to be less emotional. You need to be more stoic about that. You needed to take a harder line in there. You needed to speak up more in that meeting. All of those, you need to have more gravitas. That was the feedback I used to get time and time again to morph me into this leader shape that they wanted me to be in order to promote me. They'd basically try to turn me into a bloke. And I just thought, there's no research on this. I'm going to have to do the research, and I'm going to have to write questions like things like, what is belonging? Everyone's talking about inclusion and belonging. And for me, belonging feels a certain way. I know I feel like I belong when there's certain things in place. It's having someone's desk to go and perch on and have a cup of tea and be like, I've just had the worst call with the most annoying person. It just really annoyed me. Have someone to chat to, be able to say hello to people, feel like you can be yourself with all of your flaws, and you're like, oh, why do I put my foot in my mouth all the time? Am I too loud? That sort of thing. It's like, no, I'm not, because I'm here with my people. That's my belonging. But every other individual person has a different sense of belonging. And who's done that work to look at the diagnostics for belonging? What does that mean to belong at an organization? And that when I realized it was me, I was like, I love this stuff. And I geek out massively about this. I enjoy it. I'm doing this for a side hustle. This is my hobby. So I want to do it for my job. You know, when people say, when you do what you love, you never work a day in your life.
Sure.
Now my husband is like, you need to get some hobbies. And I'm like, but this was my hobby and now it's my work. And so, sorry, I just do this.
That is your T-shirt. We talk a lot on the pod about, the tote bag moments, but you just have a whole brand range now. I geek out. That is it. That's my T-shirt. That's your T-shirt, your bag now, Kat. That can be your new hobby, your own merch range.
I will get that T-shirt and I will send you a photo.
And I want to sort of step into you then went, right, actually, I'm going to take my side hustle and turn it into my business. But I just want to track back on some of the where you were told to, be more stoic, be more this, be more this. What's your thoughts on having more masculine energy? Oh my gosh, I've said it out loud now. What to start to the year on social media? It's
I mean, if you want to see someone triggered, it's me reading the news. My husband tries to read me things. Last night, he showed me a headline of an article. What was the article about? I was talking about EDI. Oh, this 75-year-old woman had to go on EDI training because she liked to post about illegal immigrants and like racist connotations. She was asked to go on this diversity training. And the whole thing was like, how can you ask her to do this? She's a 75-year-old woman, etc. Then the next article was about the murder. And one of the questions they picked out was, they asked her what a pansexual was. So she's 75. Like this feeling of outrage of how could they make her do it? The next article was about the murder of a trans girl, the stabbing of a trans girl. And I'm like,
wow.
I'm sorry, can you not put those two things together? It's this headline grabbing, sensationalist posturing that is going to be very embarrassing in the future. People who are coming out and saying all this stuff about we need more masculine energy. I mean, what does that even, please define that. I'm a scientist. I need to know, what is your definition of masculine energy? Please tell me. But also this stuff about EDI is out and this. It's like, well, back yourself, because let's have a conversation about it. What is it about EDI that you're throwing out? Is it one specific part of it? Because you will be doing stuff and it's these headlines which are 5 words and they say 1,000 things, just 1,000 different people, and it's just giving the wrong messages, and they're going to look back and they're on the wrong side of history. Because I'm raising 3 generation alpha kids, and if you think Gen Z are woke and with this stuff, they have not met Gen Alpha. They learn about this stuff at every assembly. My kids have had non-binary teacher. They are horrified and outraged by anything to do with not accepting LGBTQ plus families, not accepting people's gender identities. They just get it. It's just in them, and they're coming into the workforce. So,
and do you think do you think it is? We have to back ourselves, because there's a lot of people in conversations I'm having at the moment that are worried, that work around the equality, inclusion space, and it's actually, let's face it, they're not spaces. It's what we should be doing every day. It's in our every assembly, in our DNA. How do we take the fear away? Because I feel like there's a lot of fear out there, and there's a lot of fear from organisations automatically putting the brakes on and stopping and considering it, that's a worry, especially for businesses out there.
definitely, yeah. And we encounter the biggest thing that I encounter when we're training people is fear, and it's tackling the fear. What I would say is get off social media, get off, like, don't follow activists, don't follow people on LinkedIn who are making you feel afraid. It's the activist space is incredibly important. It is essential for the work that we all do. But actually, when you are ready to learn and you're taking your first steps, it's time to shut those messages off now, because they do propagate fear. That's what they are designed to do, and rightly so. But when you're in the learning space, you suddenly become aware of what you don't know, and that gulf feels enormous. And you're entering the bottom of the change curve, where all you want to do is go back, and you're like, oh no, I don't I've changed my mind. I'm scared. It's that bargaining. Please don't make me do this. And people are so vulnerable when they're in that, we call it the terror zone, because they're suddenly aware of all the things they don't know. They've got this big curriculum of things they feel like they have to learn ahead of them. So I would say switch off anyone who makes you feel afraid, and talk to real humans, because the real humans in your office, in your workplace, in your life, on the streets, who you meet in your friendship groups, your wider circles, they're never going to scream at you for using the wrong word. Then they're going to want to have a conversation. If you say to them, what is inclusion to you? Or do you experience this sort of stuff? Or how did you feel during the riots over the summer? They'll talk to you about it, and they're not going to scream in your face, and they're not going to cancel you. Real people are not like that. And so when people, this is what all of our training is exposure to real people, and just building back up their confidence to say the thing and not worry if it's the right thing so much that you end up saying nothing and then causing exclusion. So yeah, it is a real problem.
But I think is one of the solutions. It's the real life. Talk to real life people as opposed to reading fake news.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. I'm following activists who are amazing, but when you're in that fear zone, not helpful as much.
Get out the fear zone. Back yourself. You are a self-confessed startup junkie. And do we all have an inner startup junkie, I suppose? I think probably yes. I was sort of 45 before I set my own business up and thought, gosh, and now I'm like, oh yeah, it is a business. Who knew? What advice would you give to individuals out there who have got those side hustles, or have got those passions, or have been in that room that are looking around and no one else is doing it, and they're like, I want to do this? What's the top tip?
Gosh, that makes me so excited when you just said that. There's people right now who are in that room being like, this is wrong and I could do it better. And yeah, do it. First of all, do it. But subheading, make sure that it's a tough world. It is tough, as well as I do. It is tough. And the things that people put online are such an edited version of the actual truth. If we all put what actually happens day-to-day life, running and growing a business, don't whatever start a business, but you put the highlights on, it all looks glossy. I would say make sure that you've got your support network, find your tribe, don't compare yourself against people who you see. Don't compare yourself against people in the interviews who've made, 7-figure exits and this and this. Don't ever look at people who've exited from Silicon Valley, because you'll feel miserable. Work on one thing I'd say, a bit of concrete advice is think about your own personal success factors, not to do with money. So I'll know I've been a success when, for example, for me, I can drop my kids off at school every day and pick them up. I can go to every sports day and play. I can close my laptop at the end of the day and not have anyone shouting at me, although that's still a bit of a pipe dream. I don't really, do I do that? No. I'm not saying I take my own advice. But just think about your own success factors and don't tie them to necessarily exiting for X amount of money.
And I know you were raised by a mum who made you believe you could do anything. Now, this is one of the things that amused me, that At 45, your mum applied to Manchester City Football Club.
Yeah, she did. Oh my gosh.
She applied to manage, sorry. She applied to manage.
She applied to be the manager of Man City. Like, literally, my husband tells this story in public, and I'm like, oh my gosh, so embarrassing. That's the sort of woman that she was. She was just when you say she told me I could be anything, she believed that to her core. Like, whether that was a sane belief or not, I'm not so sure, but she certainly raised me to be like, if you want it, go for it. You know, if I had genuinely wanted to be the manager of Man City, she would have supported me, helped me find what courses to do. Like, yeah, that was my role model.
I'm sensing right now the apple does not fall far from the tree, Cat.
Well, like, so I've got more realistic expectations of what I can achieve, though. I'm not going to be the manager of Man City.
Well, I think he's just signed on for a super contract, so, it might be next time round, who knows? But what is your superpower, Cat?
My superpower is being able to get back up again and relight my own fire. So I have this internal pilot light, is how I think of it. And even if I'm getting worn down by life and cynical, I know that I just give myself a bit of time, bit of inspiration, and that pilot light will light up again and fire me on. So I'd say it's just the ability to just keep getting up.
Amazing. Cat Wildman, utter inner geek, serial start-upper. You're all about real life, real experience, reality, telling those real life stories, cutting out the noise. Cat, thank you so much for joining me today. You're a total and utter legend.
Thank you for having me.
Subscribe on YouTube, Apple, Amazon Music, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a review or follow us on socials. We are power_net on Insta, TikTok and Twitter. Or We Are Power on LinkedIn, Facebook. And We Are _power on YouTube.